So Season 2 of Star Wars Hunters is finally here. I've spent the majority of yesterday playing as well as working on plenty of content for you guys over the coming days. And so today I'm going to be doing my initial review of Season 2 and all the content that came along with it. Now, before we do get into it, I just have two quick things I wanted to mention. Firstly, I'm hoping that in Season 3 I'm going to be starting a top 5 play series for Star Wars Hunters. So there is a submission link in the description of this video and every video moving forward. If you guys get any really good clips in Star Wars Hunters, be sure to submit them and we can get that series started in Season 3. And then the next thing I wanted to mention is that obviously Star Wars Outlaws is coming out later this month, and I wanted to let you guys know that pretty much in about a week from now I'm going to be switching the content here on the channel over to Star Wars Outlaws for about the next 6 to 8 weeks, and I'll essentially not be covering Hunters at all during that period, which I know some of you guys aren't going to enjoy, but keep in mind I will be coming straight back to Star Wars Hunters after Outlaws is sort of wrapped up, probably around a month or even less after launch. So don't worry about me going anywhere long term. I will be coming straight back to Star Wars Hunters, but obviously with a big game like Outlaws on the way, that is going to be the focus of the channel moving forward. So keep that in mind, but don't worry, I'm not going to be moving away from Star Wars Hunters content for the long term. Now, getting stuck into the actual content, obviously the first thing we're going to be talking about is Chaos, the brand new Hunter. And from what I've played of Chaos so far, honestly, she is a hell of a lot of fun. And I do think she is genuinely viable in not only just the casual modes and stuff, but even in ranked, I've found that I can do fairly well with her and actually help the team and get those wins that you obviously need to get in ranked. So my initial impression of Chaos is definitely very good. She doesn't seem overpowered. She also doesn't seem useless or boring or anything like that. She's a good mix of being fun, feeling pretty solid to use, as in actually usable, while also not being the opposite of that and being completely broken, because that would obviously cause its own issues with her being in the battle pass. So that's sort of how I'm feeling about Chaos. Now, I am keen to hear what you guys think as well. So for those of you who either A, have bought the arena pass and have played as Chaos, or B, those of you who have been coming up against Chaos if you don't have her unlocked, I'm keen to hear your thoughts as well. So be sure to leave them down in the comment section. Just because I've been having fun with her, that doesn't mean that that's what everyone's thinking, and it will take us probably a while to actually know if she's genuinely good and genuinely fun to play. So I'm definitely keen to hear all of your thoughts. Now, alongside Chaos, the next probably biggest piece of content that we got was obviously Vaders Castle. This actually did go live before Season 2 and went live in update 2.0, which was, I think, about like 36 hours roughly before the update actually went live. So some people were playing this before the season actually started, and I've got to say this map is honestly one of my favorite maps in the game already, if not potentially my favorite. It plays really well. It obviously looks awesome. Like, we all know that not only Mustafar in general, but especially Vaders Castle, they are some of the most iconic locations in Star Wars. And so, yeah, it's really good to have this map in the game. I had heard rumors of there being a Mustafar map for quite some time now, but I wasn't actually sure if that was legitimate, but it turns out it was, and it has definitely paid off because, like I said, I think it is probably one of the better maps in the game. It feels a little bit different to a lot of the other maps in that, for example, in Power Control, the B flag is pretty much on the ledge. There's like 3 of those little catwalks going out through the center of that area, and so you can like knock people off the edge and stuff. It does just give a bit of a different dynamic to that game mode, and obviously to all the game modes really, because on most other maps there isn't really any ledges. I know, like for example on Vandal Rail Yard there is the ledge you can knock people off, but that's only just on one side of the map. So it feels a little bit sort of scary out there if you're playing as someone and then you see, for example, Chaos running at you. You know that you're a good chance of actually getting knocked off the ledge, and for me it just adds a little bit of like chaos, pardon the pun, which I think is a good thing, because a lot of the other maps they're really good, but they're just very, I guess, stock standard, and this one does feel a little bit different. Now, we obviously also got a brand new arena pass, and it feels pretty solid. It looks about the same, if not potentially a little bit better than the Season 1 arena pass. There are some really cool skins in there, and yeah, there's not too much to say about the arena pass. Usually they're all pretty stock standard across all shooters really. They generally just have a bunch of skins, a bunch of like useful stuff like the credits and crystals and stuff like that, and I do feel as though they are generally worth it for the money. You're probably spending about like 30 cents per tier, and if you finish the whole battle pass, like, it's absolutely worth it. You're getting a lot of stuff in there, some really cool skins and stuff. So yeah, I do think it's worth the arena pass, especially because you do obviously get Chaos in there too. So yeah, not too much to say about that arena pass, but I do have to say it feels pretty solid. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are new to the channel and you are interested in more Star Wars Hunters content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is pretty much daily uploads for the next week or so, all focused on Season 2, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, something else that I really enjoy about Season 2 so far is the fact that it actually has a theme to it. The first season didn't really feel like it had that much of a theme. Obviously, it was like Mandalorian themed, I guess, because that was what we got in terms of getting Arental, but it wasn't that themed, if that makes sense. There wasn't too much going on that was like super focused on a Mandalorian theme or anything, whereas this one is obviously themed after the Empire. It's actually called Season 2 Empire Resurgence. So for me, I'm a big fan of that. I hope that they do that in every season moving forward. It'd be cool for the next season to be like a rebel theme, and then one season, for example, if they add like Huttball into the game permanently, it could just be literally a Huttball season where like every hunter, or most of the hunters, get a Huttball outfit. Little things like that, I think, just add to the game a lot when everything's sort of themed together nicely. If you just release a bunch of skins that are all random, then it just doesn't feel like there's that much cohesion between them. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but it's just that tiny little extra touch that does make it a little bit more intriguing. It's kind of cool to know that, as we get through this arena pass, we're going to be unlocking all like Imperial themed stuff. So I'm a big fan of that, and like I said, I hope that they do that moving forward. There is obviously unlimited different themes they could do within Star Wars, so I definitely hope that's the case in Season 3 and beyond. Now, one negative that I do have towards this season, and I can't really verify this myself because I've unlocked Arental already through the previous arena pass, but I've had a lot of people telling me that Arental is still only unlockable via real money, and if that's the case, in my opinion, that is an absolutely huge L from Zynga there. They should not be doing that. If that is actually the case, and that's the case moving forward forever, that means that essentially anyone who wants to play the game free will never ever be able to unlock any other hunters. They're just going to get the base ones, and obviously you can unlock some of those through the regular unlock path, but once you get those, you'll just never ever get a new hunter, and that is just a terrible decision. I don't know who the hell was in charge of doing that. They 1,000,000% need to revert that and make it so that once the next season starts, the previous season's hunter does become free. Even if they make them, you can still buy them with money, but then you can also unlock them through a challenge or something. I think it is just, a little bit scummy having them essentially permanently paid. Now, in terms of the balancing, obviously they made a few balance changes in update 2.0 as well. It does feel a little bit more balanced than it did in Season 1. I've definitely noticed that although Sora is still very handy, and I don't think Sora is necessarily out of the meta just yet, her ultimate is like noticeably not as good, and I think that was absolutely necessary. So the changes they've made to Scorer, Sentinel, and probably Slingshot as well, they're probably the most noticeable ones. All three are still very good, so that's a good thing. I don't like when people kind of balance out games by just nuking a character to the point that they're literally useless. So I'm glad that they haven't done that. They've tried to make it actually balanced, and that's the way that it should be. And yeah, overall, I haven't really noticed anything. Obviously, the season's been out 2 days, so I'm not going to act like I've put in 100 hours to the season or anything like that. But as of right now, it doesn't feel like there's anyone that is like glaringly overpowered or, super weak or anything like that. I will say too that I really like there's a lot more stuff in the store that's free. You can obviously buy a lot more stuff now through credits, which is something we've all been sort of crying out for, and it's good to see that they have actually listened to that and done that. I've probably already bought more stuff in the store in the first day or two with credits than I did all of last season, and so I'm glad they've changed that. It's just how it should be, in my opinion. There should be plenty of stuff for free and plenty of stuff that you can pay for. I'm not one of those people that's like against microtransactions. I think it's completely fair enough. The game's free. They need to make money. If they don't make money, they're going to shut the game down. So I'm not against microtransactions, but that being said, I don't want to pay for every single skin I ever get. I'm not made of money, and most people aren't. So having some free options in there is definitely a good thing, and I'm glad that they have finally addressed that. Now, really my only concern with Season 2 so far is just to do with the amount of content. Essentially, realistically, we've gotten a new hunter that technically speaking is paid for. You cannot get Chaos for free, and then on top of that, we got a new map in Vaders Castle. Obviously, with buying Chaos, you also get the Arena Pass, which has a lot of good content, but again, that's paid, so it's a little bit different. And realistically, that's it. We've got a Hunter, a map, and an Arena Pass, and 2 of those things I mentioned are paid for. So in my opinion, that is definitely not enough content to keep people engaged long term. There are things obviously like ranked, for example, that keeps a lot of people engaged. It keeps me engaged personally. That's what I sort of spend most of my time doing when it comes to this game. So I'm not going to say that they're going to launch the season and people are just going to play for a day and then log off, but I do think there just needs to be be some other stuff coming out. I think if they're doing a season every 2 months, then every month in between there should be something going on, maybe a new mode. In an ideal world, it would be a new map, so we're actually getting 2 maps per season. I think that would be solid if we got Vaders Castle at the start of this month, and then at the start of September, for example, we maybe get another map. There just definitely needs to be something else, because that essentially means that right now I have played all content in season 2 already, and I just have to kind of wait 2 months until we get anything else. So that is really my only genuine concern about season 2, but I'm actually going to dedicate a full video to that and sort of talk about that in depth in a couple of days. So I'll leave that there for now, but that is something I'm definitely just a little bit concerned about, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts on that as well down in the comment section. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and may the force be with you always.